Okay, are we live yet? Let me know when you see it. Because it says we're live on Facebook. You see me live? Yay! All right, guys, welcome. We're exactly at 4:30 for day one of the virtual triathlon skills camp. So as you guys know, I'm hosting my ultimate tri camp next week in Claremont, Florida. And at that camp, obviously we work on the skills of swim, bike, and run with the people, many of the people that I don't get to see on a daily basis that are not local in Miami, they come to camp. So I wanted to also be able to help you guys that can't make it to camp and that who maybe are struggling with the skills of swim, bike, run, and triathlon, and also reinforce the importance of the skills, because a lot of times I feel like there's a huge misconception about what skills are, why they're important, and kind of just explain away that they're actually more important than the actual training at certain points in your training program. Okay. So welcome. As usual, I would love to know who's here and let me know if you can in the comments box. I'm going to give everybody some time. I'm using my phone to see if I can answer any questions as they pop up. If not, there we go. So if you have any comments, Brett, love you, Brett. So good to see you, baby. We got to race together this summer. Okay. We got to pick a race for me and Kaya to race with you. So hello, Brett. So yeah, so post in the comments where you're from. Obviously your name pops up, but let me know where you're from. And also I wanted to know what level triathlete you are. So if you registered for the clinic or for the camp, well, I'm calling it a camp, a 4-day camp, in email, you would have received a questionnaire, and we're actually going to go review the questionnaire, and we will be reviewing the different levels of triathlete that I kind of have as a parameter to assess where you are. If you don't know what the different levels of triathlete are, we're going to post it on Facebook, but I'm also going to show it on my screen in a minute. So when you first log in, please let me know, hi, where you're from, and also let me know what level triathlete you are. And it's not beginner to intermediate or advanced, it's a little bit more in depth in there. And you'll get the graphic in a few minutes when we go through the questionnaire. As a part of the challenge or the camp, I also have a worksheet. So I'd love for you guys to be filling out that worksheet. I do have access to your answers, and we're going to actually be reviewing a few people's replies, because that kind of helps me help you understand the gap from where you are now to where you want to be. Okay, so we're going to be reviewing all that stuff. So basically you're in the right place. If let's just say, do you want to become a better triathlete? Do you want to become a better swimmer, a better biker, and a better runner? And if the answer is yes, then you are in the right place for my skills camp this week. And what is a skill? Let's review that. So a skill is the ability to do something well, be expert at it, expertise at a particular, in this case, sport. So the reason why I think it's so important is because I have so many athletes that come to me and they say, I want to do this. I have this dream goal of either crossing the finish line or getting to the start line or a specific time goal. And they have no idea how to get there, which is obviously where I help them. But it's so much more than just about swimming, biking, and running, volume rise. Because yeah, you can download a free or an inexpensive training program online that tells you to swim 20 minutes, 3 days a week, or bike, an hour, 3 days a week, or whatever the case is, and run. But if the training plan is not including any kind of skill development, there's going to become a place where either you get injured, number one, because your biomechanics are very poor from a sedentary lifestyle, or from a lifestyle where you're sitting at work all day long, because those things have major effects on your ability to move through space and time. Or you just don't know, you're new to the sport, right? And so you don't know how to swim, how to bike, and how to run. And I feel like that is so overlooked in our industry, where athletes just sign up and do these programs and they're like, okay, well, I trained for a 5K and I can run 3.1 miles. And that's what I do every single day. But there's no skill development, right? Or the swim, the bike, the run. Now, the longer the distance, the triathlon, obviously you can't train the distances. You can't train the distance for a marathon or a Ironman or a half Ironman on a weekly basis. You have to build up to that volume. But even then, you can't overdo the volume because you'll literally get burnt out, right, on the training itself. But the skills are always overlooked in these training programs because they're individual to each person, right? So that's where having a coach that can actually take a look at you or assess where you are, even from a virtual place, like I do with all my athletes that I coach all over the country. I can still assess them, and we still do video analysis virtually, right? And even that feedback, that much feedback can have the biggest impact on your performance. Actually, sometimes a lot more initially, or if you're looking to make big gains in performance, you can get them through improving your skill, which actually does not, it's not a factor of your VO2 max or your lactate threshold or how many hours you spent on the bike, right? Now, I want to also say that, improving your skill is one component of training for triathlon. You still have to put in the time and get the cardiovascular fitness, right, to improve for the distance of the race that you're doing. So don't get me wrong, you still have to put in the training hours and the training days and the training weeks and months and even, years if you're looking long-term to do an Ironman and you're brand new. It's usually like a 2-year process, right, if you want to do it correctly. So, skills are definitely a shortcut, in my opinion, to improving your performance without having to be training for hours and hours and hours. You can get more bang for your buck by including one whole day in your swim, your bike, your run to improving those skills. Or after you get good at your skills and your skills are developing, just including 15 to 20 minutes of every single workout on your skills and your forms and your technique, so that workout actually turns out to be better and you having better performance because you're focusing on the skill of the movement. Okay. So you can't get away with not training by doing skill work and drills and forms and technique work, but it does give you a little bit of a shortcut and everyone can improve. So this program or this camp, you can get benefit whether you're a beginner and you've never done a triathlon before and you're on a hybrid. And I think someone who filled out the form is actually on a mountain bike or a hybrid bike. Your skill can still majorly improve. And we're going to get into how, for beginners, it's actually kind of better to get into the skill work right away because you have less programming, perhaps doing it wrong or doing it incorrectly. Or sometimes I have athletes that have done many, many years of racing triathlon and they have a lot of bad habits. And it's actually harder to correct the bad habits biomechanically than it is to take someone who's brand new. James, one of my swimmers who came to me during COVID, we didn't have any pools and he did not know how to swim at all. We're talking had no clue. But I got him, since he had no previous swimming background, it was kind of awesome because I took him from scratch and taught him how to swim correctly, because he didn't have any bad habits. And now he just did faster than me at a swim test. We all did our swim tests together a couple of weeks ago. But he's continued to train. And he's now, he couldn't run. He had an injury for running. He used to be a runner, but he's an example of a person that had no skill in the sport that he wanted to perform in. And he was able to up level very quickly because he didn't have any bad habits. Now, I can't say it's always that smooth sailing for people who've been in the sport longer and they have more bad habits. It's actually harder to correct those neuro pathways that are in your brain, right? So every time you do a movement, you're actually creating a neuro pathway from your hand to your brain to how, I'm coaching you to do it correctly. Like when you put, when you start to do the biomechanics of the sport, the swim, the bike, the run, you're learning the skill of it and it takes repetition, repetition, repetition. Now just imagine if you've been doing the repetition, doing the swimming, doing the biking, doing the running with incorrect form. Okay. for 10 years. That reprogramming actually takes more work than programming it correctly from the get-go if you had no background. Now, that doesn't mean that someone who's more experienced doesn't have more body awareness or isn't more comfortable in the swim, bike, run because they have so much experience. So it's not like it's not possible to change it. Of course, it is always possible to change. I mean, just look at Katie Ledecky or Michael Phelps. I mean, every time that they trained, these are obviously swimmers, but every time they got in the water, they're analyzing, they're being videotaped and they're being analyzed to how can they improve their form every single workout. So this is not something that only beginners do. This is something definitely that every athlete who wants to get better should definitely incorporate. And that's why I wanted to include it. So again, if you're watching later, I will be looking back. I know 4:30 is kind of I know people are still at work. I usually do these clinics that are these lives at 11. But I wanted to try an afternoon session for this time, just to see if it was any better. I unfortunately can't do it too late because I wake up at 5 every day. So I can't really, my brain doesn't really function at 7 p.m. So I won't be able to do these at 7. But if there is a preferred time that works for you guys, let me know. But I thought 4:30 was good. The workday is ending and there might be an opportunity for you to hop on. But it doesn't look like we have anybody else. But don't forget to say hi. Let me know you're here. Send me a heart or something because I obviously have no way of knowing if you're here or not. But anyway, so let's get moving. So like I said, if you're here for the right reasons, you want to improve your swim, bike, run using skills, right? And I'm hoping that you come away from today, just having 1 to 3 different skills that you can be practicing to improve your swim, your bike, and your run. Let's do a little breathing, right? So let's get present and in our bodies. I know we've been working all day long. I know I have been. So I just want to kind of get refreshed and get a little pick me up. I love this version of breathing. This breath work is from Wim Hof, but it actually hyper oxygenates your bloodstream, and it actually can give you as much of a lift as an espresso. So I know I'm going to look funny doing it, but I highly recommend joining me. And so put your feet on the floor, wiggle your toes, sit up straight, have good posture. If you're sitting down, if you're standing up, you can do it too. And you just want to inhale deep down into your belly, into your diaphragm through your nose, and you're going to exhale through your mouth. And we're going to do 30 rounds. Okay. So you're just going to inhale really sharply and then exhale, kind of relax. You don't have to force the exhale. So we're going to do 30 rounds, and then you're going to exhale all your air out. Hold your breath as long as you can, and then inhale as big of a breath as you can, and hold your breath again. And then we're going to kind of chill out, and you might feel a little lightheaded. That's why I do recommend doing this sitting down if possible. But then you're going to feel really awake and really energized. And it's a great way if you're trying to get off coffee or not have coffee in the afternoon, that you can kind of stimulate your body if you have to do an afternoon workout and kind of get things going again. So we're going to do this breathing together. Are you guys ready? So take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Big exhale. And we're going to start inhale and exhale 30 rounds. Last 10. Now exhale everything out. Hold your breath. Now deep inhale and hold it. That was about 30 seconds for the hold. Yeah, so I feel much better. So I hope you guys join me in doing that. I know it seems a little silly, but it is freaking awesome. It's a great way, like I said, to, oh, there are my comments. Thank you guys so much. So it's a great way to kind of just get energized in the afternoon. And I definitely feel much better. Dean, I'm so happy you're here. We're going to go through your responses for the worksheet. Mark, welcome, welcome. So good to hear from you again over in Fort Myers. We miss you so much. Please send some hearts and some thumbs up. Does anyone here need the link? Okay, yeah, so Rosemary, thank you so much. So the forms, this is really important part of the whole process because you're assessing where you are now, okay? And we're gonna actually review the whole form together, but if you want to fill out your own form, use the link. Hey, Jenny Lee, so happy you're here. You wanna use the form, use the link in the comments. And if you're registered, obviously you also got the form link as well. But we're actually gonna review the form in a few minutes. So one more thing. So like we talked about, so many people, neglect this portion of their training. And I think that like, honestly, like the more experienced athletes kind of poo-poo it. They're like, oh yeah. So even of the comments that I received in the forms, some people don't ever measure or they're not even consistent as far as, oh, I don't really need that, right? So if you don't know what you don't know, this is going to be a little bit maybe eye-opening about learning what you don't know that can really make a huge difference on the outcome of your performance. Like, for example, I was talking to a gentleman yesterday at the Clash 70.3. He's new to triathlon. He's only been racing for 2 years, two or 3 years, I think. And he's really fast. Like he's doing a sub 5 hour half Ironman and he's never had a coach, never done any assessments as far as video analysis on his form. And I was just kind of blown away that someone would spend this much time. He's doing like 3 half Ironmans and a full Ironman this year, like so much time training and never once looking at the biomechanics or the skill of his swim, bike, run. I was just blown away by that. Like he's just missing out on such a huge component. And I will tell you that this is something that really talented athletes take for granted. Like, I have a good friend, Maddie Reed. He went to the Olympics for the United States. And he actually came to camp with us, our Ultimate Tri Camp a couple years ago. And I was also blown away by him telling me that he never did any like strength work or, specific strength work to the sport, right? That would improve his swim, bike, run. And I know that that's maybe more of a newer thing because he went to the Olympics, over, 20 years ago. But still, I was just blown away that as an Olympic trained athlete, like they didn't include that in his training program. It blew me away. So he had no knowledge of that kind of training. He was so talented on his own. He could swim fast. He could bike fast. He could run fast. He was able to get to the Olympic level without even assessing those things. Like it kind of blew me away. So anyway, so I just think that as non-professional athletes that I'm talking to you, this is a really easy way to improve your performance without, like I said, having the highest VO2 max or having the highest power and wattage on the bike. And it's so simple, yet overlooked. So that's kind of the why of everything that I want to do. And then I want to do a quick introduction for those of you that don't really know me that much. So my name is Erin Guthrie, and I am the Chief Motivating Officer at Full Circle Coaching, as you can see. And I know Triathlon Obsessed is like a public group for triathletes, everything triathlete. But it is kind of a place where I like to share some knowledge here. And I'd love for this to be a safe place for you guys to ask questions and just get more information about triathlon. So I've been doing this is going into my 25th year, believe it or not, as a triathlete. And I was one of the first 60 triathlon coaches for USA Triathlon in 1999. So I became a coach in 1999. I started racing in 1997. And of course, it became my lifestyle. And it's something I'm so passionate about. But I'm also a very busy single mom and obviously a business owner. So I can't spend hours training on the swim, the bike, and the run, but it's something I love to do. So for me, those drills and the skills and the biomechanics, that's what I focus on the most. And I can tell you, I've had a career of lots of podiums without a lot of training spent. And I'm blown away by some of the results that I can get by not training hours and hours and hours. I can still manage to pull out some great results because every workout includes these skills, right? So focusing on the skills and the biomechanics are where it's at. And then it also has to do, like I said, with the cardiovascular component, and that's testing, but we're not going to get into that. We're going to focus more on skills. Okay, so today is just kind of an introduction. We're going to review the worksheet. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the swim. So if you have a video of yourself that you would like me to analyze or give you some feedback on, I would love for you to share it. I put a sticker in the Triathlon Obsessed work group where you can see where you would upload a video. So if you want any feedback, I'm not going to give you a full video analysis, but I'll give you a couple of tips. You can post your videos in there, and tomorrow is going to be all about swim. Wednesday is all about the bike, and Thursday is all about the run. And then Friday, we're going to have a private webinar, not live on Facebook, for anybody who's interested in how we put it all together for triathlon specifically. And also just learn more about some training with me. So that will be the kind of how the week goes. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and don't judge me for how many things I have open because I am a master of having too many things open. So what I want to do is share my screen, and we're going to review the worksheet. So let's see. So here, we're going to go over that too. So no zoom there. Okay, so that's Facebook. So here, okay, here we go. These are the two things I wanted to read. So here's the triathlon skills worksheet. So this is what we sent you and what we posted in the comments here live. So if you haven't filled this out, please do so. And this is for my current athletes too. This is a great assessment because I know, what you ultimately wanted to do with us when we first started, but it might have changed, right? So obviously your name, your phone number, your age, and then what level triathlete you are. So I did want to review this. If you can't read it, like I said, you're going to get a copy of this if you click that link. But level 1 is getting started, no swim, bike, or run experience, a total newbie with a desire to learn the skills to become a triathlete. Level 2 is acquiring experience. So a little experience in the swim, bike, or run, but never put it together for a race. Strong, maybe you're a swimmer or a runner, but you don't do all three. Sorry, dogs are playing. And this, you want to have skill building, which is what this course is about, in all three sports. Gaining momentum is level 3. Maybe you've raced a sprint, but you want to get faster, or you want to move on to doing an Olympic, going longer, and you want to learn about how to use your Garmin as a tool, and you want to learn about testing, training zones, and maybe interval training, which definitely goes together with gaining momentum. And then level 4 is you're ready for more, better equipment, more technology, obviously efficiency in your movement, but also in your cardiovascular system. And you've completed several sprints in Olympics and maybe won 70.3, or you want to start a 70.3, or maybe get on the podium in a short course or do an Ironman. And then level 5 is you are on the podium already, or you want to get on the podium, or qualify for championships in short course or Ironman long course. And if you don't know what any of this stuff means, go ahead and just put 1 or 2 so that we can kind of educate you more on all this, because sometimes the lingo can be definitely overwhelming. So the next question is, what is your next race goal? Because a lot of people, if you have the whole year planned out, go ahead and list everything. And then I want to, if it's short course or long course, of course. And if there's any single sports as well, like some people, I hope, would include some 5Ks, 10Ks on their way to a 70.3, right? So, because those single sport races can actually help you a lot. So current swim pace per 100 yards. So if you don't know what your current swim pace is per 100 yards, you can actually do a test. You could actually swim 100, as fast as you could. And that'll give you a ballpark, answer. If you're more experienced, I would love for you to do a 400 and a 200 time trial. And then you could send me both of those numbers and I would give you your answer for how much your average 100-yard swim pace is. Because the testing, it takes into account your VO2 max energy system and then your aerobic energy system. And we kind of average the two into a formula, and it gives me an answer for what your 100 pace would be for a mile swim. So if you don't know it all, you could go to the pool and swim 4 laps. One way is a lap for me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times 25 yards is 100 yards. And you could, if you don't know the answer to that, it's a good idea. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a time, right? And then if you know what your swim per 100 yards is, then I want to know your goal. Okay. So if you have, let's say your swim pace right now is 2 minutes per 100 and you want to get down to a 1:45, then you would post that here. Okay. And then obviously tomorrow we will go through the skills that would take to do that. So power. So maybe you don't have power meter. That's fine. You can put down average speed for maybe a ride that you always do. Now this is not going to be drafting, right? So if you're drafting in a group, that's not your accurate speed for, like, say, a 2-hour group ride. That whatever speed that is, if you're sitting in a group, that's not going to be accurate. So if you've ever done like a 1-hour time trial or a 30-minute time trial, that's the kind of speed number I'd be looking for. And if we're going to talk about power and speed on Wednesday as well. So if you have questions about that, you can leave it blank or just kind of give a ballpark answer. And then if you do know your power, your functional threshold power, then you could put what you are now and what your goal is for the future. And then your running. So run time, what your current 1 mile run time is. And some of you had some questions about that, which we're going to get to, and then what your goal would be. And why do I pick a 1 mile run test as a goal? Well, your 1 mile run test, which is 4 laps on a track, it equates to your VO2 max. So it actually gives me your velocity, which is your speed at VO2 max. And if I know that number, then I know how to train it. Okay. So it's how I can create your training zones. Okay. So I'm just going to go through here and see if I have any questions. Jenny Lee, I'm so happy you're here. I haven't seen you in forever. Great to see you. Rosa, so happy you're here. Rosa is training for the Ironman in Alaska. Osman, welcome. Go ahead and type in where you're from, because a lot of you guys, I don't know. Osman, where are you from? I mean, some of you are obviously my athletes, so I know you very well, and you're right here. But Dave, welcome, Dave Fugate. So if you aren't from Miami, or I don't know you very well, go ahead and type in where you're from. And also what level of triathlete you are. If you weren't sure about the level of triathlete, you could download that link that is posted above. If you scroll up, there's a link to a post for this questionnaire, and you can tell me what level triathlete you are. So Rosa, why don't you go ahead and post what level triathlete you are here, as well as Jenny Lee, because it kind of gives me an idea of what we're aiming for, even though I kind of already know. Larry, so happy to see you. Larry Lane, we go way back, racing all over the country. We've seen each other many, many places, even in Mexico and Canada. So great to see you, but don't forget to say where you're from. Okay. So let's finish up with the questionnaire. So why did I choose the 1 mile time? We talked about that equates to your VO2 max. So when I have you run a mile for time, it lets me know what your velocity at your VO2 max is. And then I can create your training zones from that, right? And that's how the training program becomes individualized to you. It's not a generic training program anymore because it's based on your tests, okay? So please mark which you have or you use. Do you have a road bike or a tri bike? Because obviously that will definitely make a difference on your ability to produce power and speed. And if you're new and beginner, if you have a mountain bike or a hybrid bike, if you use a heart rate monitor, which I hope everybody is using a heart rate monitor, it's a great governor and another parameter that we can measure to see how we're performing. And obviously, if you have a power meter, if you're using a power meter, obviously that's a great way to get faster on the bike. So let's talk about limiters, if you know them. We're going to review limiters tomorrow for the swim, and then Wednesday for the bike, and Thursday for the run, because people might not know what their limiter is. So these are an opportunity. Like someone will call me and say, wow, I know how to swim, but for some reason, my breathing is terrible. Like I can't breathe when I swim. Or they know that they feel really tight and constricted in the water, right? Balance would be like if you feel like you're sinking in the water, you would check that mark, check that box off. Skill would be like, I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, I know how to swim and I can get across the pool, but I really don't know what is supposed to be happening when. And honestly, every single person should check this, because unless you're an expert on the swim, the bike, and the run, there's always a skill to improve upon. Okay. Speed, meaning maybe you just don't have enough speed in the water, like you're not moving anywhere. Endurance means you can't like swim more than a lap without having to rest. And then fear. Fear is a huge one. Believe it or not, it's a big limiter for people, swimming especially. Fear, it could be just in the open water or even in the pool in general. Believe it or not, there's so many traumatic childhood things where, you know, dad threw me in the pool and I wasn't ready and it scared me. And there's like, you know, programming or little t trauma in your subconscious that we actually need to reprogram, which I can definitely help with. But if you have fear or it scares you to swim or even think about going in the open water, please check that one, because we do have some solutions for that. And if it's other, you can also you know, let me know on the chat here if there's something else that you want me to cover. So yay, go Broncos. Yeah, oh my gosh, back of the pack, level 3. Thanks, Dave. That's awesome. Where in California? That's awesome. Dean Kennedy, it says this. I don't know what that means. But welcome. Okay, so bike. Again, your limiters, your bike fit. So do you have discomfort on the bike? So these kind of go together. So if you're not comfortable on your bike for more than, you know, you want to be able to ride an hour without any pain. You know, for me, I've got to ride 3,000 miles without pain, right? It's going to be a big ask. There's going to be some discomfort, but I know my bike fit is dialed in, that I'm in the right biomechanical position to at least have a chance to be comfortable, right? So if you can't ride more than 30 minutes in your aero position or in the same position, then you might need a bike fit, or there might be some, you know, adjustments we can make to the bike, like a different saddle that can make a huge difference. And these can be limiters. These are all limiters. Speed, obviously, if you feel like you're pedaling a lot or you're putting or applying force to the pedals, but you're not really moving, or people pass you, or you always get dropped in the group, this is something that you would check off. Injury. So I mean, I'm pretty sure I put injury up here, but I think I left it out, but injury should have been up there too. But injury, like say you had a hip injury or knee or ankle injury, and that's preventing you from having some efficiency on the bike, you know, mark that off. Endurance, you can't ride for longer than an hour. Cardiovascular, meaning, so you're out of breath, you get tired. That can also be a nutritional issue, but if you feel like it's something to do with your performance on the bike, you know, check that one off. Fear again, and fear is a big one on the bike too, for driving in traffic or being around other cyclists. A lot of people get really scared, and they're actually a danger to themselves just as much as they are a danger to everybody else. So fear with bike handling skills is huge. So I always vet every single athlete that I ride with. No one is allowed on my group rides without vetting them first, that they have no fear, or at least it's controlled fear. And they have the skill of handling the bike. Strength. So strength would be like, you can't get up a hill or up a bridge. That would be a limiter that we could definitely work on and have skills to. And then skill, how to. Maybe you don't really know how to handle your bike. You don't know how to use the brakes properly or shift the gears. That would be the skill portion of the bike limiter. And also skill on turns and stops and starts and stuff like that. And then again, other. And then finally, running. So running limiter would be discomfort or pain. You know, everybody has, if you've been in the sport long enough, you have some kind of a injury, typically from running. So if there's any kind of pain or discomfort, you would want to mark that off, because that's definitely going to limit you as far as being able to improve, right? So speed, you seem to be able to go forever, but for whatever reason, you can't get faster. Injury, we talked about. Endurance, it's just spelled wrong, so we'll be fixing that. I hate typos, so sorry about that. So yeah, so endurance would be like, you're good at the short distances, the 5K, 10K, a 1 mile, but when you try to go long, you just blow up or you hit a wall. That would be something to check. Fear, again. Now, fear on running is not that common, right? Because we walk all the time, we're land mammals, but there might be fear. This is actually kind of an interesting one, because some people are afraid to push themselves, afraid to feel that feeling of being out of breath and really see what they're capable of. And so fear does happen on the run, and it can show up as hyperventilation during harder workouts. So fear is still definitely a factor for running. And then strength would be like your legs get tired, right? You're on a long run and your cardiovascular system is fine, but your legs are actually what's hurting, your calves or your feet. That definitely would be a strength issue. And then of course the skill and biomechanics of running. A lot of people don't know what they don't know, so that's where the skill also comes in, as far as you might not know what you look like when you run or bike or swim, but when you do finally see a video of yourself and then you compare it to maybe a professional that you've seen on TV, you can definitely see some differences. So that's why I love the videos. Videos are the best way to tell. And I'm checking in here. Derby, how are you? We miss you. Garlic capital of the world. I love garlic. Gilroy, California. Awesome. Very, very cool. So Miami, of course, Jenny Lee. Okay, cool. So yeah, so back of the pack doesn't have to mean forever. A few of you guys have said that you're, a back of the pack person, and you want to make a difference. You want to start doing something different. So these are my responses so far to the questionnaire, and I'm actually going to go through these. So I hope you guys don't mind, because it's going to trigger me as far as why I'm asking the questions, number one, and why they're important. Okay. So we did the names, not going to do that. Okay. It's interesting that all the people that are on the call are between 39 and 60 years old, which is kind of interesting. That's pretty much the triathlon age group. And we talked about the different levels and how you are choosing those. So we don't have to go through that. But the one thing I did want to talk about is setting up your year, right? And whatever your next big goal is, I would love for you guys to do a TriCalc 3 now of what that is. So I'm gonna spell it out. www.tricalc3.com. And I actually have it right here. So I want you to forecast in your dreams your perfect goal race. Okay. So if you're training for an Ironman, a half Ironman, a 5K, a 10K, a sprint, or an Olympic, you're gonna choose the app. You're gonna go to tricalc3.com. You're gonna click the menu, and you're gonna go to Try Time Predictor, because this is what I do with my athletes. I want to know what their dream goal time is now, so that we can work backwards from the goal time, right? And a lot of people are afraid to say what their goal times are. They're like, oh, I just want to finish. I just want to feel good. But when you just wing it like that, you're not going to show up. It doesn't have to be this killer hard thing. Just putting a number out there and giving the number energy can totally make you achieve it. Like if you give your finances energy and you give them more attention, they will improve. You will start reducing your debt. You will start saving more when you start paying attention to them. The same thing happens with your triathlon numbers. Okay. So take the time. This is your homework for tomorrow, but I'd love to see it. If you guys want to post, we're going to have a new sticker for tomorrow to post your TriCalc 3, but I want you to be thinking about it now. Okay. And you would select the distance. So you can say half Ironman, whatever it is. And then you can also customize. If it's not a 2.4, if it's longer, you can customize the distances. But this is where you're going to have the total time. And I'd love to see, because I actually have some goal times for people, but I want to see where it's coming from. So if you have listed a race, I want to know where that time is going to come from on the race, your goal time. Okay. So we've got some great distances coming. We have sub 13. This is great. So I think this is Dean. He wants to do a sub 13-hour Ironman in Italy. But I want you to use the TriCalc 3 app, and I want to know where it's coming from. Now, say your paces aren't there yet. Say, you've got some time to train for that, and your goal is to hit those paces, but I still want to see where you think that sub 13 hours is going to come from, because people set these goals and they don't know the reality of where it's coming from. What's your swim time going to be? What's your bike time going to be? What's your run time going to need to be to accomplish the goal? Okay. So do an Ironman 70.3 in under 7 hours. So again, whoever answered that, again, use the TriCalc 3 and let's look at the reality. And you might be surprised when you start to fill out the actual times needed to get the sub 7 hours. You might say, wow, based on this sub 7 hours, I think I can do a sub 6:30. Like these numbers are too slow. Like I'm selling myself short. Okay. So fill out those tri-calc 3s. One sprint triathlon, love it. Finishing is just as important as all these long distance. All my short course people, please do not get intimidated by these Ironman people. I'm a short course athlete. I love short course, and short course is super fun. You can race all the time and get great results. So do not be intimidated by all these long distance times. Okay. Still, I want to see, maybe you want to do a sub 2-hour sprint triathlon or a sub 1:15 sprint triathlon, right? So the tri-calc 3 is just as important for you guys doing short course as it is for long course. So I like this one. So this goal is for a 70.3 Gulf Coast, which is coming up in May. And the person wants to do it in less than 6:15. So I want to see your tri-calc 3. Where is it coming from? Now, I want to see the end result should be 6:15 or 6:14:59. Even if your splits aren't there yet, I want to see where you think they can come from, because I'll help you make it happen, right? If your swim right now is a 2 minute per 100 and you fill out the tri-calc 3 and you realize your goal swim time is a 1:45 or a 1:30, and you see the results when you do it that way, you're like, okay, this is totally possible. In the next 4 months, I can reduce my swim per 100 to this. So this is a good goal for me. And on the other hand, if you have a 6:15 goal and you fill out the whole tri-calc 3 and you're putting in your desired goal speed for the swim, the bike, and the run, and you're like, wow, I'm here now and I have 3 months to get to there. You know what? I think I might need to readjust my goal for this one. And maybe 6 months from now, I can achieve this 6:15. But like I said, you also might be surprised and be able to do a sub 6 instead of a sub 6:15. So that's where the numbers really matter. So national championships, I think this is Larry. I want to know, are you doing the sprint and the Olympic, which I hope. You don't go to national championships and just do one race, right? But I want to see your goal times. Okay. So I know you want to show up there and get on the podium. I know you, Larry, and you probably want to qualify for worlds. So let's get some times in there. Improve on the swim, Key Biscayne, June Trilogy. I love that. Is that your first race? Let me know. And then also plan out your tri-calc 3. If you have no idea, we will go over this together. We can actually pick one. I'll pick one person and we'll actually fill out their tri-calc 3 maybe on Thursday when we start to put everything together. Okay, cool. So this is exciting. I hope this isn't overwhelming for anybody. Okay, so I'm going to review any questions. I'll use it. Okay, great, Dean. Sounds good. I think Dean might have had to get off. But Derby, yes, we miss you. And yeah, so Rosa, don't worry. You can go back and do this later. Ollie, tricalc3.com. Thanks for posting that. So guilty of fear, sharing my time. Oh, So yeah, so this is a judgment-free place. If you are afraid to post what your true goal is because you don't want to be judged about it or what's possible, don't be. I had a person just sharing with me right now. He said, don't laugh, but my goal, my fastest mile ever was a 4:53, but that was like, whatever, 15 years ago, over 15 years ago. So that doesn't mean it's not attainable. Again, I truly believe that anything is possible, but we might need more time. So don't have fear of judgment of posting your goal times, Ollie. Okay, sub 18 5K. I love it, Lori. Larry. That's much more accurate as far as when you give the energy to the numbers, right? So is that off the bike, Lawrence? So let me know if that 5K is off the bike. Oh, you're an engineer, Dean. Okay, cool. I love it. That actually, I really enjoy working with people that are super specific and anal. And I love it, Rosa. So your goal time is a 14:43. So I'm excited. We're going to get you testing because I know you had a couple months setback. So we need to test you again to see where you are, to see where you're going to be for race day. But we still have 4 months. We got until July to train, Rosa. So the testing allows us to have a baseline. So awesome, Ollie. I love it. Cozumel, the goal is between 5 and 5:30. It's okay to have a range too. So if you're really nervous about posting your true goal time, like the pie in the sky one, that's fine. You could have two. You could have two TriCalc 3s. But for me, I want to see the pie in the sky. I want to see the pie in the sky dream time. Because if you never put it out there into the universe, it's never going to happen. If you don't believe it, you're right, whether it's true or not. You know, it's only going to be true if you believe it's possible. All right, Jen, I love it. A sub 6:30 Augusta. I think that's totally possible. It's a really challenging bike course. So definitely we'll be giving you some tips during the bike day. So ran out of fuel. I did it only on water. I don't know. Oh, yes. Yeah, Larry, we talked about that. I think you posted about how you don't really eat during your races, which I highly recommend starting to eat, even if it's for nationals. So as for nationals, I took second at the long course aquabike. I lost first on the final climb and 5K. That sucks because you didn't eat, right? So you gotta, even for sprints and Olympics, you've got to fuel if you're gonna be at that higher level. Calories matter, okay? So especially for short course, Larry. So I definitely wanna educate you about that. All right, cool. So these are all awesome. So, okay, so any questions so far about everything that we covered? I'm gonna go back to stop share. Actually, I'm gonna go back to, let's go back to the what level triathlete you are. Okay, so today we're actually almost done, but do you guys have any questions specifically? I just wanted to kind of give an overview. What time is it? It is 5:16. Awesome. So yeah, so every day is not going to be longer than an hour, typically 45 minutes. I think Thursday will be the longest session we have just because we are going to go a little bit into kind of the big picture of triathlon. So your homework, you guys, is, let me get back to the right screen, which is, nope, where is it? Here. Nope. Let's get back to the right screen with the levels of triathlete. So in case you didn't know. So your homework, if you haven't already, is to fill out your forms. And then you're going to post your TriCalc 3 here, as well as any video. So Ollie's going to create a little box for me inside this Triathlon Obsessed page. They call it a sticker with a colorful background. And I want everybody to post their TriCalc 3 times. So whether, Larry, it's for you, it's for your sprint or Olympic distance race at nationals, I want to know your pie in the sky goal time. And I want to see where it's coming from. What's your swim time going to be? What's your pace per 100 going to be? What's your bike time going to be? What's your run time going to be? Because that's going to be the reality of where we need to do the skills training. Remember, this is all about skills. And the skills training is where we're going to save time by being less. You still have to do the training. I can't reiterate that enough. We still have to do the training. You still have to swim, your yards. You still have to do your sets of whatever, 500s, whatever it is, the sport specific skills. I mean, the sport specific distance for the training. So if you're doing sprint races, obviously you don't have to train more than, 6 to 10 hours a week. Okay. For a Olympic, I recommend between 8 and 12 hours a week. And the beginners can be less, right? So it's like 5 to 6 for beginners and 7 to 8 for more Olympic distance beginners. And then for half Ironman, between 8 and 13 hours a week. And this is not every single week. It's a periodized program. And then obviously for Ironman, we do want to hit a few 15, 18, even maybe 1 or 2 20-hour weeks. But that's not the whole time. And that's also the importance of just all this assessment, because if you don't have the time to put in a minimum of 13 hours a week to train for an Ironman, you're not going to have the best day out there. And maybe logistically, the timing isn't right in your life right now to train for an Ironman. And maybe you could get a lot more joy and have better results from training for sprints and Olympics for a few months until you get more free time to schedule in to hit the longer training. So that's also something to keep in mind. Okay, you guys. So okay, good. Pie in the sky is to survive Oregon 70.3. Okay, we're also going to talk about languaging here, right? So I hate excuse me, I hate the word hate, right? But I love to say what's possible instead of survive, right? I want to feel amazing with a sub 630 Oregon 70.3, right? For Santa Cruz, sub 16 for California Ironman. So, oh my gosh, Dave, guess what? My one and only Ironman that I did was the California Ironman. And I can tell you, it is one of my most favorite courses. I did the half there and I did the full there, but it's such a beautiful race. And we definitely can get you under sub 16 for that race. The swim is very fast. It's a great swim. The bike is challenging for sure, but the run is flat, right? So, and you have time, right? I think, wait, I'm trying to think of when it is this year. But anyway, so that's an awesome race. I'm so excited that you're doing that race. Okay, so your homework, you guys, is to post your TriCalc 3 and obviously fill out your form. So thank you so much for joining me. This is kind of fun. And as a reminder, tomorrow we're going off swim. So we're going to focus on the most important swim skills to acquire to take your swimming to the next level. And even the most advanced swimmer can benefit from this stuff because, believe it or not, it's the nuances that make the most difference in your performance in the water. Because water is thicker than air, the more efficiently you can get through the water with the least amount of resistance, the faster you go, with a lower heart rate and with lower energy consumption. So the swim is a big one as far as skills and improving your skills. Okay, so that's going to be tomorrow. And then we're going to do the bike on Wednesday and obviously the run on Friday and kind of putting it together. And then if you're still interested in learning more, we're going to have a little private webinar, putting it all together for the whole triathlon and answering any questions face-to-face on Zoom, because I can't answer your questions face-to-face on Facebook. This is going to be a little more intimate on Friday. All right, you guys, I'm super excited. This is going to be super fun. I hope the time works for you, but go ahead and say hello. Oh, you got hip surgery. Okay, that makes sense. So it's not like you're just kind of surviving because you're just coming back. Okay, cool. Honestly. So yeah, if you've had surgery from hip, did you have a hip replacement? Because that's kind of, that would be a little bit nerve-wracking to see if everything's going to hold up. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So for you, honestly, Dave, I would really be cautious as far as making sure you're stretching and you're doing your strength training for hip mobility, because that's going to save you the most for sure. All right. Well, thanks for clearing that up, Dave. I appreciate that. All right, you guys, have an awesome night and we will see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, same bat channel at 4:30. Have an awesome day. Bye.